Asians are very racist, especially traditional Asians, parents, grandparents. They're really racist. I know in Korea as well, white people are treated better than black people.
I first became aware of my mom's anti-Blackness when I started kindergarten, and it mostly centered around avoiding interactions with Black people and not allowing me to be exposed to anything that she considered Black culture. So if we were walking and she saw a Black person, she would pull me closer to her. If we were in the car in a parking lot and saw a Black person in the parking lot, she would make a point to lock the doors, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap or Michael Jackson or Tina Turner.
Today, the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning.
In this video, these two Asian American men discuss in a podcast how Black people's struggles and revolts brought in all other race into the United States of America. They say that if all these minority groups in the United States of America, that is Latinos, African Americans, Asian Americans, unite, they will be able to get to know that they have a single oppressor, and so they will be able to work together for a common goal or a common purpose. He says that the civil rights movement, which was championed by Black people, that is why all these other race of people are in the United States of America. So let's keep watching as he explains more, and further reactions are being made to this video, and we'll come back here and discuss further about it. But before we watch the videos, if you haven't yet liked this video, kindly like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Let's watch the video together.
Today, the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. But the problem is our communities are divided. For Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Well, I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is like, friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with Black blood?
Yo, what's up, man? I don't know if you guys have seen this video, these two Asian men talking about the divide between the Black community and the Asian community. It's pretty dope, man. These dudes are laying down knowledge. It's dope. I think one of the guys may be Korean, the other guy's maybe Filipino. Either way, they're both Asian and they're spitting that real shit. The guy's like saying, yo, I don't know if the Asian community understands this, but we wouldn't be here, 22 million of us in America, if it weren't for the civil rights movement, the civil rights bill.
If it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
I'm like, yeah, son. It's real talk. Listen, first of all, foreigners in general, like me, I am not a foundational Black American. I'm not. My parents came from Nigeria to here. If it were not for foundational Black Americans, none of these immigrants would be able to be doing what they do. That's facts. My parents wouldn't be able to do what they do if it weren't for foundational Black Americans. We have to understand that this is all history. Fuck your feelings. This is the real deal. And me growing up in America, being born in America, African Americans always have my back. But when they're on their backs, nobody picks them up. And I know there's going to be, I can't wait to see the comments. There's going to be some passive aggressive ass bitch here talking that shit. But this is all facts. All right. And I want to appreciate those two Asian dudes spitting that knowledge. And by the way, there's a lot of Asian people online spitting knowledge. Real knowledge about the origins of our dealings with each other. People really waking up, and I really appreciate that because Asians and African Americans are so similar. Here's a nice little tidbit. Bruce Lee, when he was in San Francisco, you know who his first student was an African American guy. It was an African American. You could go watch Be Like Water on 30 by 30. His first student was an African American.
No, we're good. We are good. No. I'm speaking for Black American experience. Every time we have tried to band with everyone, Literally, the whites come in and offer you all something and you leave us in the dust. We tried it. Our own people sold us out. Let's start there. Well, I don't even know if that, because I feel like it went by tribe. It was a war, but let's not even start there. Let's just say our own people sold us out, right? Arabs conquered North Africa, the Spanish slave trade, which they had black people in. Then, when you look at the Native Americans, the 5 civilized tribes, most of them sold the blacks back to the whites because the blacks couldn't afford to prove that they were Native Americans. Every time we have tried to bend with someone, y'all over. Figure it out yourself. I am not a racist person. I love everybody. But when it comes to success, I'm only worried about the Black American community right now due to the fact of if it was vice versa, everybody else would think of themselves.
But the problem is our communities are divided.
I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million.
The problem is in division. This is the problem. Black Americans are only seen when we're beneficial to others. He said because of the civil rights movement, that's why 20 plus Asian people are here. But who was the sacrificial lamb during that civil rights movement? What other minority group was in the trenches with Black Americans while that was happening? Okay, and then on top of that, affirmative action, you know who benefited from that, even though it was meant for Black Americans and other marginalized groups? White women. And you see how they voted this past election. Other than that, if they're not benefiting from Black American people or Black American culture, they look at Black American people as less than. That's why they're always thriving and reaching for white proximity. This also applies to all the blacks that's not Black American. They think they better than Black Americans, but they're always cosplaying and benefiting from Black American culture. And these people are so disingenuous because they're only talking like this because of Trump, talking about mass deporting Asians, Hispanics, Latinos, non-American citizens. That's the only reason this conversation came up, and that's why this is so disingenuous. It's funny now that they targeted, they want to give Black Americans credit. How come this conversation didn't happen 10 years ago, 11 years ago? The civil rights movement took place 60 years ago, and you now just talking about it? And since we're talking about this oppressor, this colonizer, the man, it's funny because he will hire a Black American before the Asian man will, before the Arab man will. Matter of fact, they'll come into your community, your Black community, take all your money, but they won't give you a chance. And then they judge you worse than the oppressor. Let one Black American person do something wrong, then they label the whole community that way. That's the same tactics the white man use. Right? So the problem isn't division. The problem is respect. Y'all view Black Americans as less than, and we're not having it. If we don't take that, accept that type of treatment from the white man, what makes you think that we're going to accept it from these middle groups? Are y'all that delusional? It's always good to show gratitude, but what does that translate into without respect?
I first became aware of my mom's anti-Blackness when I started kindergarten, and it mostly centered around avoiding interactions with Black people and not allowing me to be exposed to anything that she considered Black culture. So if we were walking and she saw a Black person, she would pull me closer to her. If we were in the car in a parking lot and saw a Black person in the parking lot, she would make a point to lock the doors, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap or Michael Jackson or Tina Turner. And she was hypocritical about that because I wasn't allowed to listen to Cyndi Lauper or Madonna either. She would call it trash music and say that it was going to be a bad influence. But if it was a white artist, it was not racialized. It was only when it was Black artists that it was racialized. And another thing that I think is kind of typical is, as a musician, there were a lot of Black artists whom she respected and enjoyed, but she would always say that one Black artist is the exception, the rest are bad influences. When I went to school, if I came home and said I made a friend, her first question would be white or Black. And that drove me nuts because in preschool, I dealt with a lot of bullying and discrimination because of being Asian. So it didn't make sense to me that she wanted me to turn around and do that very same thing to my Black classmates whom she knew nothing about on the basis of their skin color. And when I wouldn't stay away from my Black friends, she would resort to making up justifications as to why it was harmful for me. She would say they're going to hurt me and they're going to be a bad influence because they fight and they swear and they're not good students. And of course, none of that was true. And in my household, it was not physically or emotionally safe to voice your opinions, but about that I would, because it literally angered me. And then she would resort to physical violence. And that sealed the deal in my mind. that prejudice is purely irrational because none of her claims had any basis in reality, and that's why she had to resort to physical force.
Welcome back. So in this video, these two Asian Americans in a podcast were discussing how Black people have paved way for other races in the United States of America. He talked about the civil rights movement, which was championed by Black people. Now, Black people use their blood in order for them to be able to champion this movement so that Black people will be liberated and all these other races were able to come and then have peace as well, their prosperity in the United States of America. Now, these two men say that all these other minority races in the United States of America have a single oppressor. And it is when all these other minority groups or minority race, as however you may call it, that is the Latinos, the African Americans, the Asian Americans, if they all unite together, come together and get to know that they have a single oppressor, they will not be able to champion a single cause in order for them to be able to move forward. Now, in reaction to this narrative, Black people have come and then they have spoken out loud that they have always helped in order for these movements and these activism in order to liberate themselves and other races. So Black people always work in order to be able to liberate themselves. They move in this activism marches in order to be able to liberate themselves as well as other races in the United States of America as well. But when it is time for the other races to join together with Black people in order to fight a common cause or a common goal, it looks like the other group of people, Latinos, Asian Americans, do not get it right, and they always do not include Black people. They think that maybe Black people may be their enemies. Meanwhile, it is not so. So he says that if all these minority groups comes together, Latinos, Asian Americans, Black Americans, and what have you, in order to pursue a common cause or a common goal, they will be able to achieve that purpose or that goal. If they see themselves united and then they fight against their single oppressor, they will be able to achieve their common goal or their common purpose. Now, the part that I like about what this Asian man said in the podcast was that all the benefits that the other race of people, minority group enjoy in the United States of America was paid by Black blood. In other words, it is Black people who laid down their life. They struggled, they fought back, they revolted in order for the civil rights movements to be able to come into fruition so that all these other minority race or group will be liberated. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family on other social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and other social media platforms as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click as well on the notification bell. And I'd like to see you again in my next video.